Blood Moon. This malevolence is not the work of any god. Blood moons trace their origins to the dawn of history. It is an occurrence equally sinister and banal. Everyone is acclimated to the shambling hordes of undead. Organized societies are not threatened in the slightest. If anything, they welcome the opportunity to train green foot soldiers. Those with fire in their veins may strike out on their own to revel in the slaughter. That is how I remember the sleepless nights from my younger days, knee-deep in corpses. Queen Slime. Having fled after your battle, it seems the slime god fashioned a new guardian from the unleashed essences. Ensnared in the absorption process of its newfound power, it could not flee again. Or perhaps it was overcome by desperation for survival. A glorious hunt, a fine foe. Now you know that you must chase them to the ends of Terraria. The Archmage. He yet lives. I thought him slain by Calamitas. It appears she imprisoned the Archmage to spare his life. I assumed that frigid mass was an old construct of his, running amok without its master to shepherd it. Permafrost was an old ally of mine, wielding the prestigious title of Archmage with great renown. His wisdom guided my original conquests, making much of them possible at all. As my crusade evolved and my ambitions grew, he expressed vehement disapproval. Where justice was once seen, tyranny had blinded it. He departed along with the witch not long after. The Twins. Not all of warfare is direct combat. Logistics, intelligence, and wit are paramount in equal ways to ensure victory. These machines are my finest scouts and agents, reborn in a form that gives them sight unrivaled. An enemy is only as safe as you let him be. Archers, spies, assassins, and more allow you to keep a decisive edge. Graedon understood well that the only fair fight is the one you win. His assistance was infallible, his calculus cold and cruel. Not even the most evasive target stood a chance. The Destroyer. The Godseeker Knights of my company were by far my finest soldiers. They championed my cause, and I championed them in return. I bestowed upon them hulking armor and colossal weaponry, so their might would never falter. Some days I would take time to train by their side, inspiring them to new heights of righteous fury. Graedon understood well, and granted them these massive forms, bristling with weaponry and interlocked armor forged of blessed metal. While in truth it was repurposed mining equipment, their sheer presence on the battlefield was immense. Skeletron Prime. So consumed by hatred were some souls that they pledged they would do anything in my name. Their devotion was unerring, absolute. No atrocity was beyond them. Their vengeance knew no bounds. I organized them into shock troops, dreaded for their flamethrowers and incendiaries, leveling places of worship and torching those falsely devout. Their expertise lay in unmaking faith with flame. Graedon understood this well. For them he crafted a visage so grim it evoked oblivion itself. The Mechanical Trio. These unwieldy beasts of steel were the experiments of Graedon, my former colleague and prodigious engineer. His intent was to fuel a war machine with soul energy, allowing it to fight with purpose and zeal. The creations were a success, perhaps too much of one, as the souls continued to express their own free will. Dredon was displeased with the results. However, these were my soldiers, with their loyalty forged anew in iron. I dismissed them from duty, yet they linger here still, scouring the land for evidence of the divine. Unfortunately for you, that puts you in their crosshairs. Give them a battle worth dying in. Aquatic Scourge. Another once grand sea serpent, well adapted to its harsh environs. Unlike the other scourge, which was half-starved and chasing scraps for its next meal, it lived comfortably. Microorganisms evolved rapidly, so it was able to maintain its filter-feeding habits as the sea putrefied. What a stark contrast to the rest of the ecosystem. Nearly every other creature in the Sulphur Sea is hostile. A shame that its last bastion of tranquility has fallen. Sulphur Sea. The seaside has never been pleasant, though it has seen far better days. Incessant fumes rising from the industry of Azafure inundate the water with caustic ions. Despite this, the hardy life adapted to the new environment, no doubt aided by Sylva as she burrowed through to the underworld. Long considered uninhabitable, its further deterioration led Dredon to designate it as a dumping ground. Years of careless waste disposal has now left the coast's transformation irreversible. Brimstone Elemental. A peculiar being. Until recently, she had laid dormant for ages, acting as the city's silent matron, present in their culture. As its economy boomed, traces of brimstone found their way all across the known world. It was never clear why her slumber ended. At first it was a stir. The people were cautiously optimistic. Her awakening was horrific. Inferno billowed through the streets. None were safe from the flames. Fate had a sick sense of humor that day, for Calamitas to be there to match her. Perhaps the two were attuned somehow. They fought to a standstill, fire against fire. Neither were victorious, with the city razed by flames despite her intentions. Azafure, oft called the First City. Its tumultuous history stretches back to the Draconic era, an odd jewel of civilization. The immense heat of the underworld provided it unlimited potential in defense and industry. Such were the abilities of the Forge Masters that when I swayed them to my cause, I was never lacking for arms. It pains me to say this even in hindsight. Their own artisanry paved the downfall of the entire city. For the witch and I, the air here will forever be laden with regret. There is nothing to be done. Calamitas Clone. I had seen this monster roaming the night in the past, and thought nothing of it. With its technology, it was certainly one of Dredon's creations. But to think it was hosting a clone of the witch? Detestable. Surely Calamitas would want nothing to do with such a project. I know not how it wields her brimstone magic. Perhaps someday one of us may find answers. Plantera. This floral aberration is another example of the volatile power of harnessed souls. Taking their mastery of agriculture to new heights, the jungle settlers bred a special sprout. Through ritual blessing of the soil, it was fed legions of souls. Elders of the village wished this to bring forth a new age of botanical prosperity. Indeed, the plant was awe-inspiring, but it was wild and untamed, with a will of its own. Now that you have slain it, more disorderly spiritual energies are flooding the lands. The village's ignorance was shameful in its own right, but this is worse still. Golem. What a sad, piteous thing. Truly a mockery in every sense of the word. The lizards were abandoned by their deity long ago. They set upon creating the idol as a pathetic replacement. The result is an amalgamation of the concepts and themes of many gods, prominently the heat of the sun. It is a far cry from a mechanical god, for the better. The alternative is too chilling to consider. While I believe this insignificant construct deserves no mention, the lizards revere it unflinchingly. I see no need to intervene in affairs beneath me and my people. Astrum Aureus. Ever pragmatic, Draedon dispatched this machine to locate and analyze the source of the Astral Infection. While nominally for reconnaissance, the Aureus model is heavily armed and can scale any terrain. It performed admirably, at least until it was assimilated into the infection. Sapient minds have enough willpower to resist the infection's call indefinitely. However, even the finest silicon is not beyond its reach. Draedon prefers his creations to serve, after all. With this experiment concluded, he will certainly be examining you next. Watch yourself. Leviathan and Anahita. Although she claims dominion over all the world's oceans, in truth she is a recluse of the deep. Elementals such as her pose a grave threat to all those around them. Other elementals are no exception. Anahita was driven from her home in the abyss by Silva's encroaching greenery. Accounts vary as to the majestic beast at her side. Some claim Anahita summoned the Leviathan herself. Regardless of what you believe, they are inseparable even in death. Such stalwart loyalty. It reminds me of Yaren. Duke Fishron. Outlandish as they may seem, this species is the single mightiest of the seas. They are relentless hunters, and can easily spend significant time out of water. Folklore holds that the Fishrons claim heritage from the true dragons, countless years back. While there are many such tales of creatures hailing from draconic descent, this case is factual. Genetic heritage or not, the Fishrons lack dragon blood and auric souls. I would well know. The Abyss. While there are many sightless crevices in the deep sea, this one is a geological marvel. It is located unsettlingly close to the shoreline. Somehow, even eons of tectonics could not seal or crush it. The isolated abyss is the debatably tranquil home of the naiad Anahita and other reclusive sea creatures. Here I disposed of the burgeoning remains of Silva, the goddess of life itself. Obviously, she of all gods refused to truly die. My wishes were that she would be forgotten, but her tenacity and very willpower is remarkable. Diffused, Her influence inundated that pit of crushing pressure with flora and fauna aplenty. Her great roots continue to thrash and tear at the impossibly dense stone, growing uncontrollably. She will soon remake it in her image. I can think of no worse fate for this accursed Hadal domain. Empress of Light. Though her title is lofty, she is more an emissary for the powers beyond and forces of nature. In broad daylight she can channel the primordial light itself, making her nigh untouchable. Thankfully, left with only starlight to wield, she falls like any other graceless despot. Her penchant for leeching the strength of other great beings is uniquely deplorable. It made her sickeningly obedient, dependent, but willingly so, as they enabled her to slake her base thirst. I had deigned to slay her myself for her treachery, but she was a notoriously evasive mark. The Ravager. A sickening flesh golem built for the sole purpose of savage, relentless destruction. The monstrosity was a desperate gambit to turn the tides against my god-seeking armies. I could scarcely believe it myself. It was born of a ritual of great sacrifice, performed in ardent faith. The ritual condemned and fused the bodies and souls of their fallen allies into this hideous thing. When the warlocks pledged their very lives to it as an offering, it awoke and effortlessly massacred them. Now caked in fresh blood, it hungered for more, setting off on an aimless rampage. I suppose its brutality serves as a reminder to be careful what you believe. Plaguebringer Goliath. An innocent queen forced to bear an agonizing existence. This is nothing short of a crime against nature. Without consulting me, Draedon sought to weaponize the already well-organized jungle bees. When he revealed his finished project, I was enraged. He had ended up enslaving them. It was despicable, vile even. Draedon cared little for my outrage, and returned to his other work without further incident. From that point on, I stopped making requests of Draedon. He had shown me his true colors. In my later days, I was far from virtuous, but I would never shackle a creature to fight in my name. That would make me no better than the divine scoundrels I pursued. Astrum Deus. On our world, this being is revered as the god of the night sky. It is said to devour dying stars and birth new ones in turn. Unlike the many gods you or I know, it is guiltless, an important distinction, for it was equally as diseased as they. The infection that tainted its body is from beyond Terraria. Neither I nor Draedon recognize it fully. Thankfully, such a grandiose being that walks amongst the stars is likely not truly dead. While the land has paid a terrible price, the price of a wrongful conviction is higher still. Astral Infection. This twisted dreamscape is a starborn equivalent of the mundane rock you see in your lands. I do not claim to understand the process in detail, but even the stars above can die. Left unchecked, their corpses bloat and fester. Typically, some semblance of order is maintained. It is not unlike the circle of life. Cosmic beings patrol the fathomless void and pick at the carrion, leaving nothing but clean bones. The infection itself is a disturbance from deep space. It has a mind of its own, projecting its will upon life and land. Those whose minds can grasp the true form of the universe are largely immune. They cannot be starstruck by a supposed higher truth, let alone one preached by a pustule. Prelude. In ages past, now named the Draconic Era, the majestic dragons protected Terraria from all threats. Their famed might was put to the ultimate test by an aberrant behemoth from beyond the stars. Fighting with all their strength, the dragons could wound and weaken it, but not destroy it. Lacking options, they tore the monster down to a shadow of its former self, sealing it away. What is left of it now lies imprisoned in the moon, as far away as the dragons could banish it. Much of dragonkind was lost as casualties in that struggle, and they never recovered. Zarathos himself was gravely injured. It seemed his power, along with his life, would be lost forever. One mortal, sworn to the service of the dragons, rose in determination to save their virtuous king. Requiem. As the light dragon was fading, a monk visited him. Nearly none understand what transpired that day. Most say his passing was eased. The truth, Zarathos' auric soul was consumed utterly. The monks stood, wreathed in primordial light, declaring themselves Vira, the first god. When a dragon is laid to rest on the Eyrie, its powers are relinquished so they may one day return. Vira renounced their sworn oath and broke the cycle, becoming a traitor without equal. Word of the ascension spread quickly. Many attempted to follow suit, hoping to claim an auric soul for themselves. Now you know, good intentions or no, all gods are sinners, each and every one complicit in genocide. Wherever your journey may lead, whether you are with me or against, may fortune favor you, for nothing else will.